Welcome to Super Dave Rains and the Big Show, comic book movie review panel, live and on location here in Colorado Springs. This is the full spoiler review for Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I'm your host, Super Dave Rains, and I'm here with our panel of experts, the beautiful and brilliant Michelle Asher.
Hello.
Who I understand is really Captain Marvel. I'm here with Mr. Star Wars, Bryson Lynn, who just happens to be the Sith Lord we've been looking for.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. The movie made good money, but I will have to say that it's a little bit of a disappointment. The plot has more holes in it than Colorado Springs has potholes.
That's saying something.
Yeah,
Right.
that's saying something. For those of you that don't live here.
Yeah.
The script and the editing are as if Zack Snyder, DC, and Warner Brothers and the writers took a big Lego set, dumped it out all over the floor, didn't bother separating the pieces, and threw the instructions out the window.
Oh, yeah. That's a good analogy for it.
Yeah. You know, never has a movie been been anticipated before.
It's up there.
We have three of the most iconic superheroes in all of superhero universe, DC and or Marvel. It's easy to argue that Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are maybe, at least Batman and Superman are 1, 2, and I would think Wonder Woman is probably in the top 3.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at this as, you know, for DC and Marvel, the directors, the studios, you may own the characters, but it's the fans that have made the characters, and we own the love. And I think you've forgotten that. So let's take a look by the numbers. The movie made $420 million its opening weekend, internationally and domestically.
Yeah. Disappointment, really, overall. I mean, for a movie of that caliber, to me, that's a disappointment.
Yeah, but it's still...
Did better than I anticipated.
It did do better, but
if
if we look here in week 2, it's had the highest drop-off number of all time for weekend to weekend. I think it's like 80-something%. It's rather high.
I think it's around almost 70%.
Yeah,
so
it broke some record with that.
Right.
So I mean,
but it did do. It was a new domestic March record, which is not really saying much. It is March.
It's March.
Right, it's March.
It's kind of a dead zone for movies, honestly,
Right, yeah.
which is why I think they put it there.
So
you didn't have many other options.
They didn't want to go up against Civil War.
They did not.
well,
That's
good
when it
thing
was
they
originally supposed to be released. You know.
Yeah, good thing they did.
One of the original dates.
Yeah, one of
So,
many.
looking at this, second largest domestic open for Warner Brothers ever, only behind Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Okay.
Batman v Superman beat The Hunger Games, Furious 7,
As it should have.
and it also beat Dark Knight Rises. But making a lot of money, does not equal making a great movie or even a good movie, i.e. Iron Man 3 and Spider-Man 3 featuring Tobey Maguire.
You may have your opinions on Iron Man 3, but I will agree with you on Spider-Man 3. But that's a whole different discussion for another day.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So,
I think it
do
shows
understand
the
what you're
drop-off.
saying.
But
Right.
yeah, the drop-off definitely explains that everybody was really highly anticipating this movie. They went and they immediately texted and told their friends, don't bother.
Yeah,
Which
I think
is why you had that big drop-off. So they initially made a lot of money, but I don't think they're going to make what they really hope to make on this movie.
No.
right.
Based on word of mouth.
Okay, so what went right about this movie?
Yeah.
Why didn't we see more of it? Let's start with that.
Okay.
Michelle?
Well, I'll go Wonder Woman, of course. I'll go Wonder Woman because even though she had less than 10 minutes of screen time, I really felt that was kind of the first point in the movie I really felt excited and energized was that final battle scene that she was in. I thought they did a great job with her, and I was initially skeptical of her. So I will say for me, that's what went right with the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that.
I'll agree with you
Bryson?
right there, right off the bat. For me, Wonder Woman was the best part of that movie, period. The way she carried herself, the bravado, not necessarily bravado, more of that femme fatale almost. I like that confidence. I like that twist to it, almost making her, when she's Diana Prince,
Yes.
almost like a spy figure. I enjoyed that.
I
kind
thought
of
that was
twist.
good.
That was good. Beyond that, I did like aspects of Batman. I did not like Superman whatsoever in it, but Batman, and I guess this is a nice segue point, they just didn't nail his character, in my opinion. There's aspects there, there's something there.
There's something there.
And it's not Ben Affleck's fault. I can't stress that enough.
No.
Ben Affleck did all he could with that script.
And Ben Affleck is so charismatic, and he has such a great personality, and that was the one thing I did anticipate would come through in his character, and it didn't. He was so flat, I thought.
See, and I'll have to disagree with you on that one. I loved his Bruce Wayne. I thought, as far as Bruce Wayne's
I thought
go,
he was good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
he's our best cinematic
fight.
Bruce Wayne in my book.
Right.
And he's almost my favorite Batman. Almost.
Whoa.
Okay.
Almost.
Oh.
Behind who?
Christian Bale.
right.
Okay, all right.
Almost.
You saved it. You saved it.
But since it is spoilers, we can
Yeah,
drop
this
it, right?
is a fuel
So, I mean,
spoiler show.
if you haven't gathered, this is spoilers. The thing that kills me for it is he kills people. And
we're going to get into that.
Yeah,
in
that's
just a
what
minute.
really
I wanna-
keeps me
wanna
from-
hold off on that for just a second.
Yeah, but
so,
that's-
let me ask you what
Yeah.
went wrong. What did you think about the acting performances of? We talked a little bit about Ben Affleck, but Henry Cavill, Gail Gadot,
Yeah.
and Jesse Eisenberg.
You want to take this one?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Ladies first.
Jesse Eisenberg, I just didn't like as Lex Luthor. I thought he would have been a great Riddler or Joker, or more of a. He was too goofy for me for a Lex Luthor criminal mastermind. I didn't really buy it. As far as everybody else, Henry Cavill, he just, again, I guess seemed kind of flat to me.
I will agree
I
with
was
you
just
there.
kind of
He
bored with
looks-
both of them. He looked bored in the movie,
Yeah.
honestly.
Right.
Yeah. And to me, that was a big shock there, because I loved his performance in Man of Steel. I thought he gave the character a very empathetic ground
Right.
to him. But I didn't need any of that mopey, depressing Superman in this movie. That's what Man of Steel was for. We
I think-
established that.
As I said in my opening monologue, I think we can put that on the writers and the director.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, they didn't elicit the performances that I think were needed to carry
Right,
that movie
right.
through.
Yeah.
Right. So rumor has it that Marvel paid the critics on Rotten Tomatoes to say that this was a bad movie.
Really.
What's your take?
I don't
on
think they had
what's
to
your
pay
take?
I don't think they had to.
Yeah, I know. What's your take on this potential grand conspiracy?
I mean, there's always conspiracies out there. Nobody's going to convince me that DC or Warner Brothers hasn't done the same thing on
Right.
the Marvel side. I mean,
Right.
that's just kind of part of the game.
Right.
But in this case, they wouldn't have had to pay anybody to do it. I almost suspected
Yeah.
DC or Warner Brothers for all of the early leaks
Yeah.
of the Batman v Superman movie, because they were getting killed ahead of time, that
Right.
I think they were leaking things to try and gain some excitement going into the
Right.
movie.
And I would agree with that too. Grace Randolph, beyond a trailer, who's kind of the inspiration a little bit for this show.
But no bad naming. No bad naming.
She really loved this movie, and that's okay. You're entitled to your own opinion, but I couldn't really see it because she was breaking it down point by point, and I go back to my Lego analogy. They did their homework, but they have all these pieces and they didn't know how to put them together.
Right.
It's almost like without the instructions, they were just looking at the box and saying, "Oh, well, I think this goes here, and I think this goes
Everything
there."
was scotch taped
Yeah,
together versus,
It's really scotch taped together, just like you said. And the other thing that you and I talked about earlier was the fact that 4 dream sequences, there should be a rule. 1 dream sequence for every 2 hours. That's all you get.
Or the dream sequence should make sense.
Now, are you?
There's also that.
I would agree with
now,
that.
by dream sequence, now I only counted the 1, but
He had 3 or 4.
I think there were 4 of them.
Are you counting flashbacks now, though? Or?
I would. You can count flashbacks or cannot. I just think that disconnect from what the actual what was actually going on in the film.
Right.
It was just too much.
Right. And
particularly the dream sequence where they showed Batman in the desert and the Omega symbol. Most people don't even know what that means, and that's another issue I have with the movie, is the fact that it wasn't accessible to the common person that's not a fan of comic books.
Right.
And the fact that it didn't really have anything in there for kids. So what did you think about that?
The kids part bothered me, just because my kids really, really wanted to go, and I told them they couldn't, because I don't think it's going to be appropriate. I'll have to watch it first.
Right.
They've seen all the Avenger movies. They love them. It was one of my kids, Batman's his hero. It's his favorite superhero, and he can't go see the movie.
My heart goes out to him. And you know what? As probably the biggest Batman fan on this panel, if you're a Batman fan, you're going to hate it. Period. And that's how I was for a while with the movie, just because of that fact,
Right. Well,
Batman. And try and stay away from it, but I keep landing back on that point.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a chance to really get into that in just a minute. Forget the executives at DC and Warner Brothers. The bottom line seems to be all that matters to them. But is it possible that a sequel will be better, i.e. The Empire Strikes Back or Hunger Games Catching Fire? Because they're getting ready to start filming Justice League Part 1.
If they take the criticism from this movie and use it constructively to make any future movies better, then I think there's a chance. If they just keep saying this is what we're doing and we don't care what anybody has to say about it, then I think we're going to be stuck in the same rut over and over again.
Okay. Let me get to your question now, because Batman and Superman actually kill people in this movie.
Well, and they made Superman a liar.
Did Zack Snyder... Yeah, well, that's true, and I have a problem with that, being a big Superman fan.
Yeah.
Did Zack Snyder forget that this was Justice League and not Justice Lords?
That's a great way to put it. That is spot on, really. But again, it kind of goes back to the common man. We shouldn't have to look at this as the DC cinematic universe. This should just be them up on the big screen, so to speak. I shouldn't have to look at this as like part of the multiverse where this version of Batman does this and this version of Superman is this. And for me, especially for a mainstream moviegoer, that just does not jive, especially when you have iconic characters like this.
Right, and that's probably my biggest complaint. I mean, these are iconic characters, and it would seem like the story is well known. They've been around for a long time.
You got to treat it with respect.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
there's certain pieces of it you just can't take away.
Right, and I think the director and the studio didn't treat these characters with reverence that they deserve.
Well,
so,
my analogy for that, kind of going over to the Marvel side, but it'd be like if they cast Black Panther and they made him a South African white dude.
Right.
You just don't change certain aspects about a character.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Let me ask you this: is it time to change? Is it time for Warner Brothers to change directions and go with a new director?
Definitely, most definitely. I actually wish that they would just sit in a room and say, we're not going to do anything else until we really map this out and figure out where this universe is going, what we want it to be, where it's been in the past, what's worked, what hasn't, and really be smart about it instead of just trying to rush and always trying to catch the Avengers.
Right. So do you think it's time for DC to get a Kevin Feige type individual like
Something.
Marvel has.
They need to reboot. They definitely need. Because this, I would blame on the director. I would blame this movie on the director.
Yeah, it's definitely a Zack Snyder film. But I think it's a little bit too late to jump the gun and reboot.
Well, not reboot, but I mean, just get a different director that might take it in a slightly different direction.
At least new writers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe bring in an associate director to kind of keep Zack Snyder
level-headed
in his lane.
Yeah.
So, all right. Your initial thoughts on, we're going to do a show on Captain America Civil War, but your initial thoughts on Captain America Civil War, and is it up to Cap to save the genre? Because I feel with this film, with Batman v Superman, that it may have damaged the superhero genre in general.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think because people view DC and Marvel very differently.
Yeah.
It's kind of an apples and oranges kind of situation, and I don't know. I guess that's.
I see where you're going with it.
I
mean, it's quite possible the movie did irreparable damage to the DC.
Yeah, DC
universe.
Yeah, I think.
But Marvel's going to be fine. If anything, it just makes them look even better.
It does make them look better.
It makes them look even better.
It makes everybody go, oh, this was not the Avengers.
And that's kind
right.
That's kind of my.
It kind of helps their marketing. In a
so
way.
if anything, Marvel should be going, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
We love it.
You're doing great.
You're doing great. Yeah.
That's kind of one of my bones of contention with DC is, I know how the fans feel, because I feel the same way. We're tired of getting kicked in the butt by Marvel, and we were hoping that this film would kind of
step up to the plate.
But what happened was the fact that it was DC down 21-0 at halftime.
Super Bowl 48.
DC gets the ball first out of halftime. And they try to go for the bomb on 1st and 10. No, you just got to go score.
Just get some points on the board.
Get some points and play defense, you know what I mean? So I don't know what happened there. So let me ask you this. Is X-Men Apocalypse going to be the best superhero movie of the year?
My money's still on Civil War, but I thought we were talking about Batman v Superman.
Well, we are. I'm giving a little preview of what's going to come in about 2 more weeks.
Okay, yeah.
So
I'm excited for both, and I think since they're very different, I don't know that you can say one is better than the other. Just different.
Yeah, apples and oranges, like you said.
Right. Okay.
Especially with how they've set up the universes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to Super Dave Reigns and the Big Show comic book movie review panel. I want to thank our panel, our experts, Michelle Asher, a.k.a. Captain Marvel, don't tell anybody, shh, and Bryson Lynn, the Sith Lord we've been looking for.
Yes.
So for Michelle Asher and Bryson Lynn, I'm Super Dave Reigns. Until next time.
All right.